Hey everybody, welcome to the Saturday video of the Friday, Saturday, Sunday marathon here on JMax Customs, where we are going to fabricate the arms and the brackets and everything out of 1/4-inch plate to get this cantilever suspension to where it will carry the weight of the pickup. I will also be welding up all of my tubes that I bent up in yesterday's video, putting the air lines to the bags. I don't have the controls that I'm going to use on the project yet. I haven't really even decided which ones I want, because I think I'm going to put helper springs in the back, so I want to be able to run 4 different bags off of the one controller, and I want it to have presets to where I can run like a low ride height and then a little bit higher ride height, and have the back bags either engaged or disengaged, whatever. I want to go a little bit fancy with that, so it'll probably just be the air lines to the little compressor that I got that I said I was going to put on the air ride cab on my 650. But we will have these operational. They will carry the weight of the pickup. If I can find the other bump stop, I'll get both bump stops put on it so that we have a security as far as if there's a failure of a bag when we're test driving it, that we don't destroy anything, especially not the bottom side of the engine when the 4-link brackets on the axle go through the bottom of the oil pan. So first things first, I'll have to get this engine hoist over to the other shop so that I can put my 1/4-inch plate onto my table and get all of that cut out, because I am replacing all of this. Will be cut out of one piece now in 1/4-inch, and then I'll weld these up. I don't know if you guys have had your fill of welding or not. I'll probably just do a quick time lapse, get it over with. I'm gonna go ruin the air quality in the big shop by cutting in a mass amount of 1/4-inch plate, and then we'll come back and start putting this all together. We will also be mounting the intercooler and the radiator in this video. Once I get everything final welded, I will hit all of this metal with a chassis black from Eastwood, and then when we reassemble, it'll get the new radiator in it to where we can put water in it and be one step closer to being able to test drive this thing. I will also be adding tubes in here to gusset this from wanting it so it doesn't want to side load and move side to side. I'll put a bunch of triangulation in here just to stiffen that up to where it doesn't leave the chat at 40 miles an hour going through the whoops in Sand Hollow during the record games. So I'll be right back with some plate and everything. It's going to take me hours. You guys be back in just a minute. Look what I found at the pawn shop. This thing, you put your metal in here, and when you pick up on it, it digs into your metal to where you can pick it up. As you can see, probably about the smallest metal that it'll do is 1/2 inch. And we're gonna try doing a 3/16. So I got a little piece of 3/8 plate that I'm gonna try to wedge in there and see. I guess this sheet is 1/4-inch. So we're gonna wedge that piece in there and see if it'll hold, or if we're just building a 200 or 300 pound blade for a guillotine. I wouldn't get underneath this son of a buck either way. Give me a second and we'll see if this is gonna work, or if I have to reserve this for thicker metal. The first time I saw this at the pawn shop, they wanted 650 or 700 bucks for it, and I thought, that's crazy. And the last time that I was there, this thing has probably been there for about 2 years. And I think I ended up getting it for like 40 bucks. I think they found out that, you know, unless you got some crane operators doing some pretty heavy steel work in the area, that's not a hot seller. And I wish that it was about 1/3 that size, but it's not. So we're gonna see if we can make it work. Here we go. All right, I've got it to where this jaw is digging into the sheet, and then this back piece is just a spacer. I mean, really, these teeth are going to eat into the sheet. I think it'll work just fine. I mean, I don't think I'd lather up with some sunscreen and lay under it on a Saturday afternoon or anything like that, you know, because that's just dumb. I think for loading metal onto my plasma table, we're set. That was one heck of an investment. I'm gonna love that. I've drilled holes in them in the center and put a bolt through it and then bolted my chain to the metal. But man, that's a pain in the butt. Okay, while the plate's over there cutting, let's see if we can get the intercooler to go through this playground equipment looking tube work here. I think it'll fit. Let's just make sure before we get around to welting anything in. I can imagine that it may require oh, did you see that? Now if we get that lucky, I'm bumping this pipe. Nothing spotted or welded in, so if I tap it, it moves. I probably should have went in from that side because I have that tire free to where I could move it out of the way, but this one's pretty straight and I just wanted to just try putting it in here without doing anything special at all. This right here will be the moment of truth because getting my mounting tabs to fit around it. These ears are kind of the thing that I see being my problem. Well, if I was playing that game with the little doctor thing that if you touch the sides the alarm goes off, I would have failed because I knocked both of my tubes loose there. It's not looking good. I'm going to go ahead and throw a quick tack on here so it's not like playing Jenga. It's kind of inconvenient when it just falls down like a house of cards when you tap it, because most likely I'm going to have to be able to, I'm going to put these spot welds on the back here where no one will ever see that I'll have little bumps in my welds that everybody seems to think are the fruit of the devil. I don't know if you saw it when I put this tube in there, it kind of pushed this forward just a little bit. So I was just double checking to make sure that I didn't change the angle of the dangle there. Okay, now I can bump that and it won't all just fall out. That'll give us a more accurate read too, because I mean, if you're putting it in there and the pipes move a little bit, but they don't fall out, did you really hit them, right? So let's see if we can figure out how in the heck we're going to get that intercooler in here. Because it's kind of like I was worried about in the last video. This is going to be the big hiccup. Because now I got them spotted in and the intercooler is not even in here. So it's not even a permanent part of the pickup. It's not part of the pickup at all right now. Instead of going in from the side, I'm going to go at this like a whole different way. I'm going to try and go in from the front here, like I took it out. No, I don't think so. Let's do it from this side where I can move that tire. Oh! I can make the tires go together in the front, but I can't make them go apart because both tires aren't off the ground. Just being able to rest that up against the tubing is actually easier than not being able to. Okay, I gotta figure this out. It's gonna take me a minute. Hope I don't have to cut anything off. Okay, I played with this for just a little while. I came in from the other side. Same result, because they're the exact same from side to side. And my intercooler is the same from side to side. So then I got to looking, and this mount right here, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, this mount right here, I can move that oh, that's depressing. You know, I don't like that per se, but if I build my thing down here that goes into the saddle on the bottom of the intercooler, I could just build a bracket on the top here that'll have a chunk of rubber in it, and that could just go into it like that. The old intercooler fits in there really tight, man, really tight. So I might want to revamp that a little bit when we get to it. I'm gonna have to pull all this apart and grease these bearings. I hear the air compressor running over in the other shop. I better go check on my CNC machine and make sure that it's not, you know, crashing. All right, back towards the small shop to the big shop. I got a 1/4 inch cantilever swing arm here. If this one fits, I got everything set up to cut the other 3. All I have to do is hit cut, and then I have to run to the bank because I got to get everything set up for what I have to run to Denver to do. Let's see if I think the only reason it's not going on there is because of the slag from the table. Man, that thing fits on there like a glove. I think we can tell the table to go ahead and cut 3 more of those out. Look how nice that looks. Very good, very good. Now, I'm only going to be able to bolt the one plate on, and the other one, where's my rod at? I think I have a heim joint maybe. Over here, it's not. So this is how wide that'll be between the 2 of them. See how much that sticks out? So this next plate's going to be clear out here almost to the end of that nut. So the lug nuts are only going to reach the 1. It's going to be to where I'm still going to need the circle in the middle to clear the hub. Should I cut these other holes so that I can get my socket for my impact? There just won't be much of anything left for material up here, or maybe down here either. If I cut a hole for a 3/16, let's just go ahead for the fun of it and try this out. I'll bet you that pretty much won't be any material left at all. So you can see how little material there would be there across the top. If we did it on this, there wouldn't be any material at all in the middle either. I think we're gonna have to lock and tight these nuts, and we'll just leave the top open so we can get a wrench in here to tighten them. And I'm gonna get rid of these holes altogether on 2 of the plates, so it'll just have this middle hole and it'll just be solid here. You won't have any of these 4 holes, because I mean, not gonna do any good anyway. I guess if you did it that way, you could swap them from side to side, but that's completely unnecessary. Look how beefy that looks. I don't think that's going to be the weak link by any means. So I'm going to get rid of the 4 lug holes on 2 of those brackets. It's just less cutting, and I think it'll look better because you'll have kind of it'll be a different look. It'll just be solid except for that hub. And then we'll just slap some Loctite on those nuts so they don't fall off and call it a day. So I'm going to have those start cutting, and then I'm going to run to town, visit my banker, see if we can work that out. That's going down this weekend sometime, not sure when, but I think I've got it all lined out to go down there and deal with that. That's going to be the reveal of that. I think will come later. You guys don't even need to know about it. Sorry I brought it up. Okay, I got my cantilever arms fresh off of the plasma table. You can see now where I got rid of the 4 holes, now how it just looks like holes. And it's just going to have that hubcap in that one. This one's not tight. I just put a Heim in here as a spacer, and then I'm going to cut these tubes, and there'll be a chunk of tube go in each one of these holes that'll get welded on both sides. That'll keep the plate from twisting, and I haven't decided if I'm going to box it in, you know, from there to there or whatever. I have to be able to get in here with a wrench to take these lugs off if and when I ever need to. It might be almost as fast to just pull the hub off, just take this whole piece off in one shot. The only problem is there's grease and stuff in there that there's not around a lug. Hopefully, not supposed to be. So now, the other shop, I had all of these plates and the brackets for the top of the airbag and everything. I designed all of them and put them on the table and hit cut, and then I ran to the bank and I just let that ruin the air quality over there while I was gone. And it's not aired out yet. It is cooling off in here to the point where I'm not going to be able to be in a t-shirt a whole heck of a lot longer. I'm gonna have to put the old shop rag of a sweatshirt back on. I need to go over to the other shop though and cut those tubes so that I can at least spot them in here. And it's so smoky over there with metal dust that I don't want to be over there, because that stuff will kill you. So let's not do that. I don't have any of my stuff really designed for the bag over here, because I'm going to have that bracket off of the tube over here. And then I think I'm going to run it down. I'll have a bracket here on the tube that'll come down. It'll just be a bracket with 2 holes in it, and it will come down and encompass the mount on that intercooler and stuff. And then that'll just unbolt. So I'm going to have a saddle on the top that's just going to be welded to the tube. It'll have rubber inner tube in it. And then the bottom mounts are going to be the ones that'll be removable, because they're the ones that are going to have to move. That's what's going to make it to where I can get my intercooler in and out, is by removing the bottom ones where they're not in the way. I went out there and looked at that radiator support that we cut off of the cab for the F650, because it has the little dome pieces that go in here, and I might steal them off of it to weld onto my plates up here so I don't have to build that, because that radiator support's not any good anymore. Cut it off that other cab so I can use it for spare parts. I'm going to put the radiator back in here again so that I can get my intercooler where it belongs, to where I can start designing the plates and everything for the mounts for it, so that we can have those built. I just put this is the first time I've had an arm on the driver's side. Look at this. Yikes. It comes within like 3/4 of an inch of the brake reservoir. I mean, there's plenty of room there, but look at that. I don't know. Sometimes you just get lucky, I guess. Okay, let's throw the radiator back in here so I can work on designing some more plate and stuff. We need to design this bottom bag mount for good. Not temporary, not mock-up. We need to build something that will be here to stay. So we also need it to tie into this ear on the intercooler, but it also has to all come out so that we can get our intercooler out. It's got to be removable. I've got this here, and it's got to stay there until we know we have to build our bag mount out to this mount that is temporarily here, and that is to tell us where our bag needs to end up. I got this plate here built. That'll protect our radiator from the stuff coming off of the tire that'll be hitting it. And then I gusseted that with this piece that'll get a hole down here, and this piece will bolt on down here, tying our frame piece to this piece that holds the bag. When this bag is pushing down on that, it's gonna be pushing in on this just because of the way that the downward pressure is. So I built that big gusset there that'll really strengthen that up. And then this front one will go away, and I haven't decided if it's going to tie into the bumper and come up, but this has to bolt on because this whole plate is removable so that we can get the intercooler out. And it's got, I went ahead and made it go 8 inches up on this tube with 3 1/2-inch bolts in it. That way that'll strengthen this tube up, and it just gives us that much more leverage as far as the bag pushing in on it and pulling out on the top. I've got all of that all on the program now, so I can punch it out and we can duplicate it on the other side. I got some 1 inch by 1 inch square bar that I'm just going to weld on this that'll go up into the saddle here, and the intercooler will sit on that, and it'll just be welded to this plate. That way that's all just part of what will be removed. But it's getting late. I still have to edit this video so that you guys can see it. So with that, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and I'll probably see you on Sunday for another video. If I can get this suspension welded up and it will suspend the front of the pickup, then there's a really good chance that we can give it a little test rip on Sunday. If not, it'll come next week, and it may have coilovers on it. I hope not, but it's always a possibility. Catch you on the next one.